So when people get psychic readings, they're trying to change something in the future or know what their person is thinking. And also, when you have an addiction to readings, you don't want certain things to happen. You have a fear of the future also. But I will say that you actually manifest the future that you don't want when you get psychic readings. And I've dealt with a number of people who are in a trap of getting their readings because one thing happens and they're like, okay, I would call the psychic, and then they feel fine. And then another thing happens, and then there's like a cycle of needing and wanting more, needing to know another answer, needing to get another spell. And that's what I notice about the New Age. Like, it's very addictive and it's always something else that comes up. But when I um, just let it go and let God have it, things just worked out so much better for me. And um, the things that I was hoping for, especially if it was for my good, then He allowed those things to come into my reach and He helped me get it. There was no fear, there was no anxiety or like just like a hopelessness of the future, right? I just felt so happy no matter what happened, because whatever occurred, then God was still going to be with me. And usually people who are addicted to the readings, there's an emptiness that they feel, and it is exasperated and bigger than what it should be, because all your focus is on this person. You've already exchanged energy with spiritualists to connect with them, and that comes with obsession and paranoia that you get with the readings, that you get from the readings, right? But there are a number of folks who I noticed really with psychic readings, like your marriages can come under attack, whether the psychic is aware or not. Like, sometimes the psychic would be like, oh, it's fine, like you have nothing to worry about, you know, you actually got married to your person of interest, okay. But others are like, I feel like something's coming up, or this person's going to start arguments, or they're going to get bored with the marriage, or there's a third party. And if you come into agreement with those readings, then yes, it can happen. It will happen, especially if you don't repent and go to God about it. And there was another YouTuber here, and she took down all her videos about the dangers of psychic readings, and I'm so mad with her for doing that. I don't know what's going on, especially when there's more and more people getting psychic readings, and they need that help, and they need to hear from someone who was in it. And I promise you, I used to watch her videos all the time, and it really helped me stay away from the readings. But only when I got really delivered was when I stayed away from the readings for like the longest time ever. But one thing that really stuck out to me is that she got a reading on her marriage, and the psychic was like, yeah, he's gonna leave you and move out pretty soon. And she was like, what? That's crazy. Like, we've always been together. We've, like, you know, since they've been together, and they never had serious issues like that. She was just curious about like what was coming up for them. And the psychic just said, oh, this person is going to leave you and betray you. And she didn't want to believe it. She wanted to forget that psychic, but because she didn't rebuke what the psychic said, it actually happened. Her husband moved out of the home, and she spoke with some other women who were getting the readings too and who are married. Sorry, my throat hurts a little bit today. And the psychic said like similar stuff about, and it was a different psychic, right? But if you think about the source of these readings, it doesn't like for people to be in covenant marriages. It doesn't like for people to be together and happy. It wants you to be alone and seeking the psychics in order to get to that point, right? So when the friends who got the readings and who told their person was going to cheat on them and leave them, it happened. It happened. Um, and it was going to stay like that, but then they started praying about it, and all of their partners came back. Everything was healed, and it wasn't perfect, but they got back together into full marriages, and they didn't have that issue anymore because they learned their lesson of going to the readers. Also, I went on a live on TikTok, and I talked with this woman who was a woman of God, and she shared her experience of what happened to her children after she got a reading. So basically, um, she wanted to know how long her kids were going to stay around because she didn't want to have an empty nest, right? And she wasn't that afraid, but she just wanted to know like what was going on with her kids. And all hell broke loose after that reading, and her children just left the home um, a lot faster than what was planned or what she saw like happening. Like their relationship just fell apart, and her children was just scattered to the winds. And even years later, she's still trying to repair that relationship with her children. But before the readings, there was no issue. So I definitely feel like um, a doorway is open um, when you like get the readings, and you have to be so careful. But the fear that propels you to get the readings is something that you have to pray against, because if you don't pray against it, it's going to happen because you're coming into agreement with something that wasn't even supposed to be in your life. So um, even like former people who were in those practices, they said that those things usually happen if you like believe it or you fear it, right? And the only way to stop it from happening is to pray about it. Just pray about it. Like, prayer is free. You don't have to go to these psychics and trying to figure things out, because you're going to get more confused. You're going to have so much confusion to where it's like never ending. And the more you call them, the worse it gets. And it just breaks down in a horrible way. And don't think that you're the exception and that you're special, because I've spoken with married couples who relationship broke down after one of them got a psychic reading. And this is serious, right? Because this is just like happening in much larger numbers after the whole New Age explosion in 2010 or 2011, the star seeds and all the chakra healing and stuff. It really opened Americans up, especially to divination, more so than before. Folks used to go to church and pray about things and hold their families together, but now people call Keen and Kasamba and Purple Garden and all these other psychic and California psychics, all these other platforms, in order to have hope for their relationships. And it comes at a cost. And I'm sorry, I'm just like, sorry, I kind of blanked out a little bit. But yeah, you have to be so careful. And I got like a really bad prediction for my previous marriage, and it happened, but it didn't happen the way like it permanently happened. Like he didn't get with that person that the psychics were warning me about at all. And in fact, he came back as soon as I stopped getting the readings. So I'm just hoping that y'all just get rid of the fear and figure out like why you need the readings. I'm trying to figure that out too, but I would say prayer is really good, and also figuring and asking God to heal those wounds that is making you want to call the psychics, and also having a more positive self-concept of yourself. Because if you think about yourself a certain way, you don't love yourself, and you don't feel like you deserve those things, then it's going to happen that way. And I noticed that people were not showing up for me because I didn't believe that I deserved to be shown up for, due to the things that happened to me in my past. And with my parents and everything, and that's something that I have to heal. Um, because if I don't, it's just going to be the same thing over and over again, of feeling insecure, calling the psychics, feeling like I don't deserve things. Because I noticed that even like in non-romantic relationships, just with friends, they weren't showing up for me the way I was showing up for them. They weren't giving me that attention that I was giving them sometimes, right? And when I got that attention, I kind of pushed it away, because on a subconscious level, I thought that I wasn't good enough. And that's how a lot of people are who get those readings. They don't feel that they're good enough, so they have to go to a psychic to build a story in their head and to give them confidence that that person is going to be interested in them. But if you had the confidence from God, if you had good like self-concept about yourself, then you wouldn't feel the need to call a psychic to see if it's going to work out, or what that person is thinking, or like what is going to happen in the future. Because God does not give you anxiety, He gives you peace of mind. And you're focusing on dwelling with God in that moment. You're focused on the awareness and love of yourself in that moment. And that is one of the key ways, because I know of people who never ever called a psychic, never ever felt like lack of confidence, and they get just about any person that they want, um, and they find people who love them and respect them. But I noticed that the folks who call the psychics are in very messed up, humiliating situations with people. They get betrayed a lot. And I saw it on even a forum. It's called, I don't even want to tell y'all, because if you go on that forum, like there's people venting about the horrible stuff that they got from psychic readings, like, and how they would do like 2 or 5 year recaps, But there's also a lot of people like giving reviews about psychics and which ones worked for them. And I don't want to trigger y'all. This is a channel to stop people from getting the readings. But in those 2 or 3 year recaps, just about all of them said that none of the hundreds of readings that they got were accurate. And even the negative ones didn't work out the way that they wanted to. But hardly any of them ended up with the person that they were calling the psychic about, because the person was just so toxic that even in their limerence, they couldn't hang on. It was just really like not good situation whatsoever. And I also met a woman from that forum, and she was in a cycle of really toxic relationships. And what happened for her is she stepped away from it, because she just like, I can't take these really bad relationships anymore, and I'm tired of the psychics gaslighting me and telling me that this person is for me when he's not. He's like cheating in front of me right now. And like they're telling me that he is just stressed, but he has good intentions, right? And so when she walked away from the readings and she began to trust in herself and read the Bible, she got into a very good relationship with a guy who was there for her, and she didn't feel that anxiety anymore. So yeah, I think the readings give you opposite of what you're looking for. It's delaying like what you want in your life, and it's giving you people that probably might come in your life, but it's not good for you. And I promise you, when I was like talking to the Ukrainian guy, and those psychics were telling me that he was a good person and sweet guy and was meant for me, while he was supposedly selling drugs and using women and fetishizing women. And even after he made a joke about hitting me in my nose after surgery, like the psychics were still trying to say he was a good guy that entire time. Like God was sending people my way to warn me about him, and to say like, this guy is not good news whatsoever. He's a snake. Like he's also on the DL too. You have to be careful. And I didn't want to listen to it because I had full confidence in the psychics, because the psychics are really good on short-term predictions. They knew things about my past and present. And I just felt like I can prove to God that this guy was good for me. And it didn't work out that way. He was quite awful. And it was interesting because he would say he was dating me, but then on his story, it would be him hanging out with another woman or going out on a date with multiple women, and then he would act like nothing's wrong or nothing happened. Well, after me, he got with a woman in Florida. He moved there, and oh my goodness, like she was into Santeria, and he messed with the wrong one because when he cheated on her, she cursed him. I feel like she did something on him, and he got deported. He lost everything, and she blocked him, and that was the end of that. So, especially if you're not covered by God and you piss off the wrong people, then some nasty stuff can happen. But he was not a good person. He's highly narcissistic, and this was someone that the psychic said that was a good man and that I should wait, and that eventually he's going to try to ask me to marry him. And he did ask me to marry him, but it was to try to use me for papers. It was going to be a horrible trap. Like, oh my God, if I had listened to the psychics that married that guy, I probably would have been in a mental institution or very sick, because he was just cheating left and right, and he had like some violent tendencies that he exhibited later on. And you cannot tell me that these psychics are of love and light and of universal goodness when just about every person that they put in front of me and said was coming into my life or who was good for me were absolutely the most narcissistic, undeniably rude men I ever met in my life. So this energy that we're connecting to in these readings is not for our good. It's not to see us prosper or anything. So please be careful.